Good afternoon, everyone. Futures Brizio here, 1:45 p.m. on Tuesday, March 5th. Hope everybody's doing well. And I have to say it was a horrific day in the market today. But, I like to show good and bad. And this is just one of those days where I probably should have just stayed out. I was a bit distracted doing other things, and a couple of decent trades that did happen, I missed. So I always show the good and the bad, and today I'm going to show you lots of bad. So I had, my risk was contained, so the net effect on my account is not awful, but it's still frustrating because it's essentially about 2 decent days of profit, decently profitable days that I wiped out today with losses. So it is what it is, and you pick up the pieces and you move on to the next day. So let's just talk about where things are at. So let's start with crude oil. And you can see this was probably the most ugliest. And you can see with crude oil, let's find. So this is about where we started the day. This was around 8 o'clock this morning. Obviously, this market trades overnight session. But I start to look at around 8, which is right about in here. So right about at these lows is where we started the session. And you can see we went up, then we slammed down, then we went up, then we slammed down. And we are essentially almost back where we started the day at 8 o'clock this morning, or 8:30. Certainly 9 o'clock, 9:30 when the North American session opened, which is right about here. So anyway, so we're back to about where we started at the 8 o'clock session. We are a little bit lower than we were at the New York Open. And you can see I took multiple stabs at trying to chase the market, and it didn't work. So, again, fortunately, because I was not really too comfortable with the way things were looking, I only traded micro contracts today. Now, I traded more than one. I was trading 3 or 4 at a time, but it's still quite a bit less than trading the full crude oil, CL. So I just traded the micros, and so that limited my damage for sure. But you can see I had many attempts at it, and every one of them was a loser. So with soybeans, here is soybeans, and again, if we look at where the open was, now let me go to like a 10-minute chart here. So here is right about in here is at this low is about where the U.S. session started, and you can see that's about right back again where we are now. Overall, the market is still down, and I did say that I thought it would go down, but you can see we've made no progress. If we go out to the hourly chart, we've essentially are flat on the day. So I had a few attempts here. I went long here, thinking that. This was going to be I had mentioned that possibly this was a break and retest, and we were going to go back up. And it looked like we had a breakout here because we took out some of this structure, and I closed that trade. Then I tried it again here. Then I closed that one. Then I went short right here for a very tiny profit. It went in my favor. I should have just held this because this one at least would be up right now. But by then, psychologically, I think I was just checked out. So I just closed this one. Near break even, a very small profit. And then the one that really frustrates me the most is this, which is cattle. So you can see on cattle, I had a short here, knocked out, long here, knocked out. And if this one here is frustrating because you can see what price ended up doing. Now, I went out later this morning after all this, so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to walk away. And, of course, when I come back, I see that price had broken out. So this actually would have been a nice little trade, if I had seen this breakout. But I didn't, or if I had just held this long right here and not gotten out right here. If I had just, my stop probably was down there. I think I closed this manually. This wasn't a stop out. I closed it manually, because I would never have a stop this close. Same thing with this one. I closed it manually. And so if I had just held this one, and assuming my stop was down here, which it probably was, this one actually probably would have turned out okay. It wouldn't have covered all the losses I took on the other assets, but certainly it would have helped. So, but that's it. The market's done for the day. Cattle market closes in about 40 minutes anyways, and you can see it's done making its move for the day. So overall, a really awful day. If you go out to S&P and NASDAQ, this was the other ones where there were trades, and I didn't take any. I really just wasn't even looking at these. And obviously here on the shorter time frames, there were some good setups. This obviously was the ideal setup, but this happened well during the pre-market session. This was, about 5 o'clock this morning, which I wouldn't have seen this one anyway. So when we came into New York, price was already down. Price was already, let's find 930. Yeah, this was the 930 candle. So price was already trending down, and we had all of this move down. I wasn't, like I said when I made the video this morning, I wasn't going to chase price. So we were already like halfway between here and here, and still painting these bearish Heikin-Ashi candles, and I just wasn't going to try to trace it. You can see all the way down. It just kept doing that, and there was no break. I mean, even on a 15-minute chart, there was no break. Now, there was one little pullback. You could have gone short right here about an hour and a half ago, but I didn't take it. Like I said, I wasn't home. This is part of that session I missed when I stepped out earlier, and so price has continued down here. So, and I think the ES is pretty much the same thing. You go to the 30-minute, it's almost identical to the NASDAQ. So, and so that's it. That was pretty much the day, and it's a frustrating day, I have to say. So, but you're going to have days like this. Every day is not going to be a green day. Every day is not going to be a profitable day, and some days you have to just take your losses and step aside. And I took more than I should have. I was trying to get back some of it. That's revenge trading, and that's a cardinal sin that almost never works out because your emotions just take over. And so as frustrated as I am, it's not like I'm surprised. And so we'll just put the day aside and come back tomorrow, and you have to kind of dig out of the hole and start coming back again. And as long as overall over a course of time, over a week, let's say over a week or over a month, that you're going in the right direction, that's fine. You're going to have red days, and you're going to have 2 steps up and 1 step back, and that's the way the market goes. When the market doesn't just trend in one direction forever, there's going to be pullbacks. Well, that's the way your equity curve is too, right? If you're having a positive, equity move, so you have a couple of good days, and then you suffer some losses, and then you dig out of that, you come back, and then you're going to have maybe a couple of really bad days, and you come all the way back down, and then but then you come up again, and then maybe you have maybe even on the same day, you have a little pullback during the day, but you recover. So again, you get the point. Like, your trading results can actually be a lot like the market. Hopefully it's trending up and you're making higher highs and higher lows, but you are going to have drawdown. You're going to have days when things are, going against you. And that's just the way it is. Just over the course of time, you put aside these days like this, and at the end of that time, you're trending in the right direction. You're making higher highs in the end than these days here, where you had down days, or partly down days. Then these just get figured into your P&L, and they just become part of your record, but they don't define your whole account. So, like I said, the good thing is that I do control risk pretty well. So even though I take a bunch of losses, I don't really do a lot of damage to my account. It's more just, frustrating than anything else. And so, you know, I really can get a good feeling most of the time about whether a trade's going to go in my direction pretty soon after I enter it. If things, you know, are not looking good, I'll cut it loose almost immediately because it's not worth it. I can always get back in. The worst that happens, if you get back in, you have to pay another commission to enter another trade, and that's a small price to pay, you know, for being on the right side of the market. So, and it's also a small price to pay to, you know, close out of a trade early if you have to. So, so I don't have any problem doing that. So, anyways, guys, that's where we're at. You know, I won't be taking any more trades, obviously, the rest of the day. The market's, you know, done. There are no setups now. So, even these indices, you know, this has already moved on without me. And again, I'm not chasing price. So, so it is what it is. We'll come back tomorrow, regroup, and do a pre-market open video tomorrow, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, questions, comments, leave them below. I'd love to hear your thoughts if, you know, you have days like that. That's why we need to, you know, share our experiences, which is why I also set up the Discord group, and I encourage you to join that. The link's in the description, and we'll go from there. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're just finding it, and any comments, feel free to leave them below. All right, have a good rest of your day, guys. Catch up tomorrow.